Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, beautiful, beautiful. It's getting better and better, this. Easier and easier.
You can hear me? It looks like
Yep.
it's picking up on here now. Do you hear
Yeah.
the echo?
No. No, that's
Okay,
gone.
so it is canceling it. This is ridiculous. I don't know. Oh God.
It's like, is it possible we're actually getting worse at technology? Is
The
this happening?
technology is getting worse than us.
I think it is. That's really odd. Really
Okay.
odd.
So what
Oh,
happened last time? It was weird because it was recording in the beginning,
okay.
and then right when I shut it off, when your file was trying to upload, it gets to like 99% and it wouldn't get past that.
Okay. How weird. How weird. I tell you, some AI robot somewhere is in control of things, and we're just all gonna be their slaves soon. I tell you, it's happening.
Well, I'm glad this mic is working okay.
It's yeah, I can hear you great. It's coming
Good.
through loud and clear. So
And I do see it picking up in Riverside, so that means it should be actually recording it too.
good, good. Yeah, I can see like a little timer with a. I'm guessing that's what it means. Record. It's got the red light on it and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So
the
that
record's
should
going.
be it. Okay.
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 Let's do it while it's working. It's
I know.
working.
Let's do this quick. Let's do this. Hey guys, it's me, Halloween Dan,
I'm scared, Dad.
and welcome to part two of our podcast talking about the cool props from Spirit Halloween. Don't forget, go and check out part one, which is up on ScareDad's channel right now. It's very, very cool. We talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. So now let's just get into part two.
All right, so let's get to the oddities and curiosities section, and we're going to start out talking about the gravestone ghoul. This, I believe, is the first one you saw, Dan, right? When you were on vacation, you put out a quick video about this prop. So, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I think he's okay. He's not the best prop in the world. I shared it only because it was the first official thing I'd seen of the range. I think it's okay. It's the only thing is it's the tombstone's a bit too small and the movement's very basic. And we've said this before. You could basically replicate that quite simply, but I do have a bit of a soft spot for very simplistic graveyard esque props. I've got quite a few of them myself. I like this guy. I like him. He gets the job done. You know where you stand with this. It's just a shame that Tombstone's not a bit bigger and he's maybe got a slightly better movement, but yeah, he looks okay. I enjoy him. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'm happy that the tombstone's like a nice plastic. It's not like the cheap foam. So
Very
that's
true.
good. A little bit on the small side. And again, the movement is super simple. I think it works. I have no problem with simple props. I think the price maybe at 180 is a little high.
Yeah.
I said before with the 20% off coupon that you kind of expect to get from Spirit, it brings it down to like 150. So now it's more acceptable range.
Mm,
But I think it's a solid, simple prop. I think it looks good. I like the lights in the eyes. I like the movement. I like the
mm.
jaw and the spring, so it kind of, bounces around and everything. But so yeah, I think it's good. It's just simple.
Yeah, very true.
So with that, let's get to scoring. And we're going back to our five skull system.
That's
I
right.
would say for this one, I'd probably give it 2.5 skulls. I think it's right in the middle. It's simple but solid for what it is.
Yep. Same wavelength. 2.5 scores from me every day. Sits nicely in the middle. Not the best, not the worst. Gets the job done. Like it, but maybe not enough considering the price. That's the only thing. That price does lower the skull setting, I would say.
Right. Okay. So let's move on to Night Terror. I remember seeing the name for this, right? And thinking like, this is gonna be such a cool prop. It's gonna look so good. It's gonna be this weird, creepy monster, kind of like the Night Stalker or something. And no,
No.
it's black pumpkin face guy. And full disclaimer, we actually had recorded this once before, and we had an issue with the recording. But in that, I remember saying to Dan, he looks like he's like Beavis or Butt. He's like, ha, 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 ha.
Just that impression all day long. That's exactly. That's it. That's it. There's nothing more to say, is there? That is what this is. It's the Beavis and Butthead of the prop world. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a pumpkin-headed prop that moves its head. It's fine. It's fine. It's just not what you expect from that name. We've talked about this several times. A lot of things in their range, I think, are misnomers. You think you kind of are imagining something, and then you get this, and it's like, no, this is not what I was imagining. I'm like expecting maybe like boogeyman under the bed or something, big red eyes, creepy as anything. And we get a pumpkin thing that's doing this. And it's like, no, that's not terrifying in the slightest. Night terror my backside. It's not it's not a thing. No.
It's it's not even that it's a terrible prop
Yeah.
because it's $100, and
Mm,
with the 20% off, it'd be $80. It's just not a Spirit prop. This shouldn't be
no.
part of Spirit's lineup. This should be like something you see in Walmart, at home maybe, something like that. I expect more from Spirit.
Yeah. And we've said this as well, that I think this is one example of where Spirit have maybe spent a lot of time focused on their more carnival themed props. They've really thought them through and put the best tech they could into them and things like that. And then the rest of them, they've kind of gone, oh, I don't know. Just this guy will have behind a tombstone spinning about a bit. This guy will have doing this with his head. And it's just a bit like, yeah, so you didn't. So basically, the whole rest of the range that isn't anything to do with clowns, you've basically just gone, yeah, that'll do. And that's a bit sad in a way.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely put all their energy into the carnival stuff, and everything else is just okay. It's
Okay.
simple
Yeah.
enough to get by, not even terrible. Some of them are pretty cool,
Mm.
but it's
Yeah.
just nothing new necessarily.
Definitely not. Unless you like a Beavis and Butthead themed
Yep.
pumpkin headed guy, and then this probably is perfect.
All right. So let's get to our ratings. He's cheap, so that's maybe the one thing that's saving him. Give him maybe 1.5 skulls.
I'm going to be tiny bit nicer and go for two skulls. I think it's an okay prop. It's just even $100 and with a percentage off. Is it 20%? You said, and so that's
Yeah.
$80. So even that though is still quite steep for something that's just a kind of background piece. It's not this is not a front of your horn taking all the attention type of thing. So that's quite a lot of money for something that's only just sort of standing about in the background somewhere, laughing like Beavis and Butthead. So yeah, two skulls though sound about right for me.
Okay. Moving on to another one that I know you think is disappointing with the name. It's kind of
Mm.
a lot of people like it, and it's not a bad prop, but we're talking about Wanda Webworth. Well, I'll let you explain why you're disappointed when you saw it.
This is the thing, and we've spoken again about this, is that if they hadn't released their names before we saw any version of the props, I would have seen that spider, gone, woo, yeah, this is amazing. Bit random that it's called Wanda Webworth, but okay, it's a big, cool, mutated spider. Awesome prop. But you see that name, and my brain immediately goes, "Oh, it's going to be like a witch. Wanda sounds like a witch's name. It's going to be some cool sort of mixture of a witch with a spider's abdomen or something. I don't know, something really awesome, something we'd never seen before." And then you get a big mutated spider, which is cool as a prop, but
Yep.
that name doesn't make any sense for it. And it's just like, I don't know why it's called Wanda Webs. And that in its own right, it builds up this image in your head. You create and imagine what it could potentially be. And then I think that's the thing, you are let down by it not being as good as what you imagined it to be. And that's the only thing. Other than that, it's a standalone prop. It is a good prop. And if you like spiders and stuff, which I do, this is definitely one for you. But it's just that name is a bit of a letdown.
I have to agree. I don't, I think it's a cool prop. I don't hate it or
Yeah.
anything. It's a weird name. It's, for a spider that's like, it's only humanoid in the fact that it's got two long legs and stands up, but then the rest
Mm.
of it is pretty much regular spider. It really doesn't have much of an abdomen. It's kind of like this really like wimpy thing on its back, and
It's like it's wearing a rucksack. It's like,
right. So I think it's a solid prop. It's got the what is it? The mouth moves, the two
yeah,
front arms move, and then the other arms are posable, I believe. So again, pretty basic movement. Nothing exciting necessarily, but not bad. I mean, for a spider, that's all you're probably going to get,
yeah.
unless they had all the arms moving, which could have been cooler. If they were all kind of
That
moving
would
around,
be very cool.
right? But we didn't get that. So yeah, I think it's a solid prop. It's a cool spider. It's just maybe again not really super imaginative. It's just a spider standing on two legs. So let's get to the rating.
Yep.
I mean, I still think she's a decent prop. She looks pretty cool. I'd give her 3 skulls.
Yeah. That's exactly where I was gonna go. 3 skulls for this. I I think if it hadn't been for that release of the name first, and it hadn't been for me starting to imagine what it could potentially be before seeing any footage of it, this could potentially have been like a 4 skull prop. Sorry, a full. Oh my god, I can't speak. Sorry, a 4 skull prop, but it's not. It's definitely a 3. It's a 3 for me. 3 skulls all the way. Yeah,
I think
sadly.
if we had gotten what you imagined with this cool spider witch mixture, that could have been
Five.
7 or 8 skulls, right?
Yeah,
Break it
five. Yeah,
apart.
7. We'd be breaking the barrier. Yeah, it'd be like turn it up to 11 skulls. This would have been, but
Yeah,
yeah, no,
that's what we got. So
that's what we got.
let's move on to another one that kind of baffles me, and it's not even a terror prop, but it's the cremator.
Cross the threshold where the dead walk free. Enter, and in the darkness you will find me.
And it's actually a static prop that's got
Mm.
a voice and the what are those lights called?
Like fire and ice.
Fire
Yeah.
and ice light. Yeah, thank you. And it looks super cool, right? And it's pretty solid. It's got like a plastic molded piece to keep
Mm.
the hood in good shape, so that's good. And it looks super cool, but it's literally like a couple light bulbs on a frame with two plastic hands and a skull and a piece of cloth. And you could recreate this. The most expensive part would be the light bulbs. And I don't know, $50, you could make this whole thing yourself and pose it maybe even more interesting. You could kind of have one hand coming out and one holding the skull like that. So I don't know. It's cool looking. It's not $200.
No. Yeah, it's cool looking, very cool looking. And when I first saw pictures, I was like, this is going to be insane, right? This is going to be so good. But it is. It's not even. They've not even bothered to just add this movement. It is completely static, which is so disappointing. Because as cool as it looks, like you just said, you could definitely recreate this thing for half, not even half, a third of the price of what they're charging for it. Yeah, it's super disappointing. I was again imagining something so cool with that name Cremator, and it is cool. It looks good. And then again, in most people's displays or haunts, this will look great, especially at night with that flicker flame effect inside with the fire and ice lamp. Why did they not give it even just the most basic of animations? I don't really understand. This would even have been quite good as sort of like like a lurching prop. Even the most simplistic lurching prop would have been something in this guy, but nothing at all. And that's disappointing for me. I think this thing looks great, but is doing absolutely nothing, and it's not scary for that reason. Then it's a nice looking thing, and that's it.
Yep. This is one that would have been cooler if they put the Nibbles technology in, right?
Exactly.
Kind of like the 68% water did with his Reaper that follows you. Having a faceless prop that's following you, right? So you can't see the eyes, but it's just, it's looking at you. That would be super creepy.
Super
That
creepy.
would be so cool. This is too simple, and unfortunately, wasted that tech on the basic clown. So I don't know. I mean, not much else to say about this, so I guess we
No,
get to scoring.
get to the skulls.
This is one that, again, if it just wasn't for the price, right? If they just sold it as a basic static prop, and just you don't even need the voice, right? Just keep it as a static prop. Give it to me for $100. I'd be fine with that.
Yep.
With this, I mean, I really like the way it looks, so I guess 2 skulls.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a reach maybe, but I do like the look of it.
See, I'm in a weird position with this one because my heart really likes the way it looks. My head's telling me it's not worth the money. So for that reason, I'm going to go slap bang in the middle with 2.5 skulls.
Oh, okay.
Because I know I've just been a bit mean about it, not doing anything, but I do like the look of it. It's a really weird situation where I really like it in essence, but everything else about it is just a bit like it's too simplistic and too expensive. And so, yeah, I'm very conflicted over it. So 2.5, I'm putting my cards down on the table.
So now let's move on to another super simple prop for this category. And this is Max Straw. They're trying to be like innovative in the sense they're using that Home Depot like kind of hovering look that they did with the Witch, and now they've got the 12-foot Reaper, which again for me doesn't make sense with a Scarecrow because the whole point of a Scarecrow is usually it's staked up to something in the field. It's not jumping around using a pitchfork to get around. So it's weird to me, but fine, you know, I can get past to say, okay, you know, it's still a cool effect. It just doesn't make sense. But then it just has this simple head turn, like looks like reindeer motor, you know. For a reindeer motor, you put the 2 little nails in, right?
Yeah.
It just bounces back and forth and turns the head. And I like the design of the face. I think the face is pretty cool. It's like not super scary, but really creepy, you know. So it's kind of right in between there. But like you said before, it's not a showcase piece; it's a background piece, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so again, for $180, it's fine. It's just I don't know. Like I still expect a little bit more from Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thought process. It's trying to use a pretty cool piece of technology or, you know, a look like Home Depot have done famously over the last couple of years, but then just doing it really poorly. Like it's not big, it's not impressive, it's just a Scarecrow that looks okay. I like the one positive about this is I like the face mold on it. I do like that face and that head. I think there's something creepy about it. It looks like a little mutant of some descriptions behind like the sacking of the head. But I don't know. It's so simplistic again. It's just hanging on the side of that pitchfork, turning its head a little bit, and yeah, it would have been more interesting if the head had done like a 360 or something. I don't know, or maybe if it had been climbing up that, going up and down the pitchfork or something. I don't know, but that's just boring and pretty generic, you know. And Scarecrows, you know, we see hundreds and hundreds of Scarecrow props. There's so many of them that if you're gonna do a Scarecrow prop, and this is Spirit Halloween, you expect something phenomenal. Like you're gonna do it amazingly. Don't do a mediocre little weird Scarecrow that's just doing this. You know, that's not scary to anybody, not even the crows. Weirdly,
It's amazing how many Scarecrow pops that they make, and he doesn't. So I'll give him that. Where they actually will put a crow on the prop. You're like, wait a second, he's not even scaring the birds away.
they always do that.
At least he doesn't have a crow, so that's good.
True. That's true.
But yeah, it's fine. It's a fine background piece prop that, you know, with the 20% off going down to 150 is okay. Probably should be 100 again, you know. Super simple. You can make this yourself really easily, and I don't have much else to say. So I guess we'll get to the scoring. Don't think it's worse than Night Terror. It's probably not better for the price. I guess I'll go 1.5 skulls.
Yeah. That's pretty much where I was going. 1.5 for me too. It's so simplistic, and it's for the price as well. That price is pretty crazy for it, to be honest with you. It's so yeah, 1.5 is all I can give it.
Agreed. Well, let's move on. This is one that I have a problem with. This is the Dark Princess. Before
Yes.
this came out, we had talked and we had all these cool ideas of what she could be. Like I was thinking like this like gothic vampire chick, right? That maybe was like
Mhm.
blood and she's drinking the blood and then spits it out at you or something, or I
Epic.
don't know. Yeah, something just like really cool looking, like a classic fantasy style character. And then we get this like little girl with like this weird kind of ghost face, which is fine, but not what I was expecting. And it's got these fabric wings that don't really look like wings, and she's Dagger Mike. To me, she's just the worst version of Dagger Mike because I thought at least Dagger Mike looked cool. But I don't like her look at all.
Yeah, yeah. I think you've just hit the nail on the head. I was like imagining some kind of like gory gothic version of like Xena warrior princess or something. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what I was imagining. But no, we've got this little kind of little girl, creepy little girl prop. Very simplistic again. They've reskinned Dagger Mike, and like you say, even though I'm not a clown fan, I would take Dagger Mike over her personally, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who will. I know we're going to get some hate for this because I get the feeling this has got to be one of the ones that people really like. I had it in one of my comments of the video I did on her where they were like, "Oh, I love the Dark Princess," and I just was like, "What for? She's not
No,
doing anything we haven't already seen. What part of that outfit says princess? There's no, I don't know what that. It's like someone just pulled a name out of a hat. I don't know
right?
what part of that says princess. Is like a little angel that's got a dark side to it. Is it dead? Is it a I don't know what it is. It's just a weird prop with a weird name. The action is good, but it was better in Dagger Mike, in honesty.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So, all right. So let's get to the scoring now. Because I really hate the look. I'm not gonna, like I
I
say, I
felt
don't like it. I really hate it.
I've gotten that much from this.
Even though it's a reskin, at least it does something. So I'm gonna go a little higher than I feel I should. I'm gonna give it 2 skulls.
Ooh, okay. See, I'm going to surprise you because I'm going to go for 3.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Because I don't want to get a load of hate for. No,
Send
no.
it all to ScareDad. That's all right.
Yeah, no, that's because, like you've just said, you've just hit the nail on the head. That despite the fact that it is a bit weird and I don't quite get it, she is at least doing something. She is at least doing something. And a lot of the props in this particular little category are doing very little. And I do like a scare prop. I do enjoy props like that. And I suppose if you can get past the weird name, you kind of go, right, well, it's kind of like a creepy doll more than it is anything else. It's like a creepy little doll prop. I kind of like some of them too. So, yeah, it's not the worst. It's not the best. And I think people will like this. So, yeah, I'm going to go for 3.
Fair enough. I'll
Mm,
take the hate mail. That's
I
okay.
know. Yeah, you take that hate mail.
So now we're going to go to, which is definitely my favorite in this category, and one of my favorites for the whole season for Spirit, and that is the demonic gatekeeper.
This is the point of no return. Your cries and screams are futile.
I think this is one we've been talking about how Spirit's been overvaluing their props, and this is one I think they nailed. It's
Yeah.
$200. It's like a 3-foot groundbreaker, and then it raises up, right? So he's pushing himself up. He talks. He's got the lights inside, and it's hooked up to a fog machine, so it looks like he's like smoldering from inside, kind of like pulling himself out from like hell, maybe, right? Pulling himself up. I just think it's a cool prop, and I think for what it does for that value, really good. Like this is one I had in my shopping cart. I was ready to buy it, and then I said, "Oh, not really pirate themed, and I might need to save that money for some Home Depot stuff."
Mm.
So I pulled back. Doesn't mean I won't give in down the road. If I see it in that Spirit store and it's sitting there, might end up in my car somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would
Just
don't eat that way. So
remove the hood, put on an eye patch, You've got a pirate.
Right?
He could be
He's
breaking
pulling
out of the
himself up.
ship. Who knows?
There you go. So he's like pulling himself out of the water, and the thing's pulling him back in, right?
That's amazing. That actually sounds really good.
Right?
You've just invented a new prop.
There you go.
Well,
So,
yeah, I agree. Fully agree. Best prop out of the range as far as I'm concerned, because this is 100% what I love about props in general. Anything Reaper-esque or Graveyard-esque, all that stuff, love it. And he's cool prop. I couldn't believe he was the price that you say he was, to be honest with you. I don't really have access to the website because I'm here in the UK, so I have to just go off what you're telling me. But when I heard that he was only like $200, I was like, that's a steal. This thing is cool. He is awesome. I mean, people are paying, what is it, $250 for like Rattles, who's just a static skeleton breaking out the ground. He's cool, don't get me wrong, but this thing moves, it pulls himself out the ground. He's got lights both in the chest and in the head, which actually, for once, make this thing look really good. Sometimes lights don't, but this does. You can plug it into your smoke machine. Having that billowing smoke coming out from inside of it is such a cool look. And it's like you say, it's actually pulling himself up and he's moving about and he's saying creepy phrases and his mouth actually moves, which is amazing because they don't always do that either. So I think this thing's great. I really like this thing. And if he was easily accessible to me, I think I'd buy him. I genuinely think I would. And I think you should too, pirate or no pirate.
like, sorry, honey. Dan said I had to buy it.
Yeah. Dan's making me do it. Sorry.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
So, all right. So let's get to our rating on this. And I think he's easily near the tops for me. I think I'm going to go 4 skulls. And basically just because it's still just a combination of things we've seen, but just all really put together really well. That's the only reason I'm not going higher, but it's a good prop. I love it.
Well, I'm going to go mic drop moment, 5 skulls, boom, there you go. 5 skulls from me. Because I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think you can't go wrong with it. I think it's super cool. It's simplistic without being too simplistic, like doing nothing. I don't know what else you want from a prop. It's amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, agreed. Very awesome. Now, if that was the same exact prop for a clown, what would you give it? 1 skull.
1 skull, minus the skulls. I don't know. It'd be like the minus. Because that's the thing, isn't it? It's about when something makes some sort of sense. Right. And a clown breaking out of the depths of hell, saying clown phrases with smoke billowing out of his chest, that doesn't make any sense at all. This guy is a reaper breaking out the ground. He's coming out of the bowels of hell. He's saying things about the dead. Makes sense, 100%. So yeah, it's like comparing apples and oranges. It's like
give us a reskin of the clowns next year, Spirit.
Yeah.
Perfect the way it is. Just bring him back again.
Just bring him back. No clown reskins, please.
All right. So let's move on to the giant death ray. I know we both said that we saw the name. We thought it was just a big prop, right?
Yeah.
And clearly it's not. It's this 10-foot alien with several heads, which is pretty cool. He's got these lights that move up the chest and on the arms, and I think the hands light up too, and the head.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking prop. Until I noticed one thing when I saw someone putting him together, and I didn't notice it when I first looked at it in the videos, but it's got just a fabric that covers the limbs and everything, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't match the skin, the hands, and the feet, and the head. So I was trying to figure out, is this supposed to be a costume, or is it just poorly matched? That does throw it off a bit for me. Now, at night, going through quickly, maybe people aren't going to notice that. But because I like to pick everything apart, even things I love, right? I still like to find the things that could be better. It bothers me a lot more than it probably even should, especially up where the neck, because where the neck fabric ends and the head is, it almost has like a turtleneck effect to me. So I don't know. I'm probably way overthinking this.
Yeah, maybe the planet he comes from, turtlenecks are really in fashion. It's like,
Right? So, what are your thoughts on it?
Mine, I like him. I think he's really cool. I like alien props in general. I spoke to you briefly about how we've just seen that one come out of Costco, and it's, for me, there's little comparison. I don't know. At first, I was on the fence about it. I was like, no, I think I like the Costco one better. But actually, no, I've gone back on that. I prefer this one. Yeah, there's something menacing about him, and I kind of feel like an alien for Halloween should be kind of menacing. I feel like it has to have that side to it. And I think they made the right choice in not really giving him any phrases. They've just played sort of sci-fi music and weird noises. The lights, I like. My critique was maybe did it need as many lights as it's got in him? I don't know. But I don't know. It's not a bad. It's really just picking at things. I didn't notice the costume thing until you mentioned it to me. It's like, and that's how subtle I think it is in a way that it's there right in front of your eyes, but I think your eyes are so drawn by the lights and the head moving, you don't notice it overly until you really look. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me overly. And yeah, I like that head movement. I think this is a solid alien prop. And I think if you like aliens and you've got a UFO kind of horn, this would be great. This would look amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It's a solid prop. If you had like an alien spaceship, right, that's kind of crashed, I would put him kind of like standing up above it, behind it. Just this big, intimidating figure, right? Again, at night, I don't think anyone's going to notice the whole turtleneck thing. That's my pet peeve because when I'm looking at it in daylight, watching these, picking things apart. But yeah, I can pick things apart on distortion props, and I think they're amazing. So
it's true. But
there's always something you can find.
Yeah.
But if I was going to score this one, well, I am going to score it. Not if I am. I would say 10-foot prop, pretty intimidating, pretty cool. I'm going to give it 3.5 skulls.
Ooh, okay. Well, I was going to go 4 skulls. I think it's quite up there for me. It's not the greatest one ever, but I think it's a cool prop. And the only reason it's not getting a 5 skulls from me, believe it or not, is because as cool as it is, I would never buy an alien. I like looking at it. It's a cool thing, but it wouldn't match anything else in my haunt. So that's the only reason it's not getting a higher score from me, I have to say.
If they had foregone the fabric and given us the cool blow molded parts, kind of like a Predator of the Night, I probably would have gone higher. I probably would have gone maybe 5 because I think he's pretty cool.
Cool. I think you'd be more likely to have bought it if it had that cool neck movement, like Night's Look. If it had been giving you a little, then you'd have been buying it, I'm pretty sure. Right? With the turtleneck and all. You'd be buying
9 skulls, right? All right. So now, before we forget them, there's 2 props that aren't listed, and then we'll get to the blast from the past.
Yes.
And let's start out with, I forgot her name. Is it Shirley Stabs?
Yeah,
is that
it is.
Susie?
Hang on. I think it's Sally. Sally's.
Yeah, it's an S.
It is. Is it
Shirley Stabs.
Shirley Stabs. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. There you go.
This is one that it's interesting because it's new. It was released in the video with the other ones, but it's not part of the whole Carnival thing. Interesting and weird to me. They guess they just didn't think it fit any of those categories. She's just off on her own, but she's a cool prop. She's like this 1950s like waitress diner type outfit, but she's like carved her face like a jack-o'-lantern. There's a little bit of blood, and she's stabbing, just like her name says. And I think it works. I think it's a cool looking prop. It's simple, right? Again, it's simple. Spirit's sticking with that whole simple thing, but effective for what it is. And just creepy enough that you can get past the simplicity, I think, and just enjoy it for this weird, creepy prop.
100%. Yeah, exactly. She's cool. I like the sort of retro look to her, like a bit of a 1950s diner look. I love that. And yeah, I mean, this is, for me, she's got a better action than Michael Myers has got, and that's his thing, right? Like, she looks really cool. I love that jack-o'-lantern carved face. It's probably on the gorier side of props that I would choose personally, but I do like her. She's super cool, and this is one of them things that I think Spirit does so well, where they're not always they don't always reach my sort of top 10 sort of props that I would be like checking off the list, going, yeah, I need this one, I need this one. But they do cool very well. They do cool props that everyone kind of goes, oh, I don't need it, but it is cool. You know, it's that sort of thing. And this is it. It's so simplistic, but in a cool way. It's cool, you know, it didn't need any more than what it's already doing. It looks really good. Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't really included her in the main lineup somewhere. I'm sure they could have done, because I'd say she's a far better prop than something like Dark Princess anyway.
Agreed. Definitely. And I think she's something that, even though it's pretty niche in the fact that, you know, it's the 1950s theme, right? I think you could reclothe her, fit her into a harvest theme with that jack-o'-lantern car face. You could make her kind of generic Halloween and just shut the sound off because she's playing that. But I think you could totally repurpose her if you needed to. She has that kind of that classic Halloween look with the jack-o'-lantern face. So I think it's a solid prop.
I think she'd be great in like a party or something, you know, like she's the waitress serving here's some pumpkin pie, darling, you know. So cool. I think that would look great in the corner of a party or something like that. It's great.
Absolutely. All right, so let's skull her up. What do we think here?
I'm gonna go 3.5 skulls. Yeah, solid 3.5.
I think I'd agree. 3.5 skulls. I think just a solid, cool looking prop. Simplistic, but she looks great. And it's creative. It's something different. I like it.
I love it. I think it's great.
So now let's go to the other one. And we've got Towering Tula.
Who do we have here? Your curiosity and trespassing has cost you your mortality.
It's a Mr. Dark reskin. That's a witch. And I told you I'd heard a story. My old brain, I can't remember where it was. That somebody said that they had heard that one of the props wasn't working out for Spirit. And so they quickly did a reskin of Mr. Dark. And they said it's basically using the same sculpt that you get with the Cerberus Sea Witch from Lowe's. So must be the same company, right? And you can kind of see that because you actually said that before, that you thought it looked a lot like her. Mr. Dark's a great prop. And she's a decent looking witch. I could totally see a scene where you put her behind a cauldron with some other witches. No kid's going to expect that she's going to jump up like that. So I think it could actually be a really good scare. Do we need another Mr. Dark reskin? I'd rather just have Mr. Dark come back like every year because he's a great prop. So yeah, it's fine. It's cool. I like it. But if it was even cheaper, if it was on sale, I would probably get it because I could totally see ways I could use it. It's just, this is the third time in 3 years that we're getting Mr. Dark. So, what are your thoughts on Towering Tula?
Towering Tula, the weirdest witch name ever. I don't know. I like her. I like witches, and I like Mr. Dark. So you'd think mash them together. Woo-hoo. But like you say, I to be honest, even last year when they reskinned him as Hellspawn, I was just kind of like, why not just bring back Mr. Dark? Or maybe adapt Mr. Dark ever so slightly and make him a slightly more impressive prop than he already was. Why he needs a full reskin of something completely different and new, I honestly don't know. And it's kind of, we've talked about this again, it's kind of a bit lack of imagination. It's a bit like, oh gosh, we need one more prop. What have we got? Oh, we've got Mr. Dark. Well, we made him Hellspawn last year. Well, let's make him a witch and call it Tula. It's like, okay, but really? Yeah, and it does. It's got the exact same look as that witch from Lowe's. It's okay, and I like witches, and you're right. In the right setting, behind a cauldron, you'll get a good scare out of people because no one will be expecting it from a witch. And maybe that's the way they were thinking, you know. Yeah, kind of people might expect a demon devil to do something like that, or a dark, spooky guy. But a witch, you know, everyone thinks they know witch props, and maybe that's, you know, this is the shock tactic. You know, you don't know this witch. But personally, I'd have preferred to see Mr. Dark return.
It makes it kind of hard to score for me because I love the mechanism of Mr. Dark. The kids love it every year. That's their favorite prop. You know, first they're scared, and then by the end of the night, they're running up to him just to be just scared by him because they think it's cool. Yeah. So again, I could even see myself getting this for the right price. Probably not the price Spirit's charging. Yeah. I think the Hellspawn was like $330 last year, and I thought Mr. Dark was only like 280 when he first came out. I could be wrong. I don't remember what I paid for him. So I probably wouldn't get it, but I think it's a cool prop. And I think because I like Mr. Dark so much, I'll give her 3 skulls.
Okay. I was going to go 2.5. 2.5 skulls from me. Sit in the middle, quite happily in the middle, just because it's not the worst, it's not the best. I'd prefer to see Mr. Dark return, but she's pretty cool in her own right. So, yeah, right in the middle for me.
And now we've got the final category, which is kind of the least interesting to me. It's the returning props, the blast from the past. And we'll start with Cerberus. Last time we recorded, I was a little bit harsher to it. And then I went back and watched some videos again and thought, oh, it's a little bit cooler than I gave credit for. It's a 3-headed dog, the kind of plastic blow mold of the face, but the heads are all turning, and the fog machine has the fog that comes out. I don't love the body of it. Kind of looks like a big sheep body to me. And for some reason, they decided to make like half a prop. So instead of putting legs in the back, it's got this like little pole. And that I hate, right? So you really have to hide it kind of like coming out of something or put a bush around it. I don't know, something. I don't know why Cerberus would be in a bush, but the motion looks cool. And I like the idea, right? You know, Cerberus is a cool character. It just feels like they went a little bit on the cheap end. I know this is like the 3rd remake of it, right? We probably could have gotten something cooler for a remake, but it's an okay prop. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Same as you. I started, after we talked about it last time, I had a quick look at some of the videos of it a second time, just so I was not being either too kind or too harsh to it, really. And it was that line when you said it's only got a peg leg at the back. I'd never actually noticed that. And it's just got that one leg at the back. And I was like, you're right. It would have to be, you'd have to have it coming out of something like, obviously, like a doghouse is the obvious thing, if you've got a doghouse. But then most people would probably just stick it coming out of the bushes. And then I was just thinking, when I take my dog for a walk, he likes to back into the bushes to do a poop. And I was just like, so if I got this prop, that's all I'd think. It's like the dog's taking, it's that Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, who's terrifying, taking a poop in the bush. And that's all I could think of then.
Oh my God. Put it right next to the pooping gargoyle.
Take it next to the pooping gargoyle. Now we've got the pooping dog. So, and that then completely ruined his prop. I was like, I can't look at it seriously now.
That's all I'll think of now.
This is how my brain thinks. Like it just reminded me of my dog backing into the bushes. Apart from that, though, he is a pretty good prop. I do like it, but I think since the 2-headed goat came out of Party City, I think that's probably taken a lot of attention away from Cerberus. I think a lot of people are probably thinking, no, the goat is cooler than the dog. And yeah, the mold of the body and everything, the fur on it all looks a bit weird. I don't know. When you look at it properly, you kind of go, yeah, this prop probably has had his day. Actually, you know, Cerberus, go back down to like hell or wherever it is you've come from, because I think your time up here is done, to be fair.
Right.
Yeah, he's okay, but not great.
All right, so let's get to giving it a ranking. And so I liked it more than last time. I guess I'll go 2 skulls.
Okay, nice. I'm going to go 1.5 because I don't like it when my dog backs into the bushes. So I don't like this dog backing into the bushes either. So yeah, it's 1.5 skulls from me.
So I think I like it more thinking of it backing into the bushes. So.
That comedy element.
Right?
You could put some little poop bags next to it.
Get some like fly sounds flying around in there.
Yeah, the whole scene could be magical.
All right. Well, that was an unexpected turn on that one.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the twitching Banshee. I'm going to let you talk about this one because you were saying that it's actually got a bit of a following in the UK.
Yeah, I think it's one of them props. I don't know what the reason behind it is, but it was, I don't know whether it just became a bit more easily accessible but there's a lot of UK hoarders I know have really over the years tried so hard to get hold of this prop. It's got a really cool rep. And I don't know why. I mean, I like it. I do like the twitching Banshee. I think it's just such it's a very simplistic prop in some respects, but it's got such a cool action. It's what you want from a prop in some respects. It's very simplistic, but it's also kind of disjointed and creepy. And there's something just about that flailing and the movement of the really loose movement of the head. And if it wasn't for that movement, the prop would almost be cartoonish. Like it just looks a bit like bug-eyed and weird. But that movement just makes it so creepy. And I think that's what people in the UK really like. I think of all the props that we can occasionally get hold of from Spirit or from the States, it's one of them ones that just seems everyone's opinion on this side of the pond is just that it's so cool. And I agree. I think it is. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a cool prop. Again, like you said, it's got that slightly cartoonish look to the face, which I think I would probably like it more if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the motions, it's a pretty violent turning and the head's bouncing around and everything. I think the audio would probably drive me nuts if it was in my yard towards the end of the night. But that said, that's what it should be doing. It's not saying that it should be like talking instead. Like, look at me, my head's bouncing around. So it works. I think that all works. I think it's a solid prop. It's super creepy. You can kind of go in any Halloween theme. You can throw it in a graveyard. You can throw it in like a haunted hotel or something. It could go almost anywhere. So very cool. I know a lot of people are happy she came back, and yeah, I think it's solid.
Definitely.
So, what would you give for a skull rating?
I would go 3.5. 3.5 skulls for me because it's really cool. But I can't say it's as cool as some of the other props we've already talked about today. And it's maybe aged out. Let's just say that. It's cool, but it's kind of, we said this last time, it's kind of sad that one of the cooler props that Spirit has this year is a prop that's been around for years and years and years, and I don't know what that says about Spirit's main range, to be honest with you.
I would say that it means that Spirit didn't really go for scares this year.
Yeah.
They're big jump scares, right? 2 reskins, Towering Tula and Dark Princess. I mean, is there any other jump scare? There really isn't, right?
Not that I can think of, no.
So while this isn't a jump scare, it's got that creep factor that a lot of them don't have. So yeah, I would give it a solid 3 skulls. I think it's a good prop, simple but effective,
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
And now we've got the Towering Creepy Clown.
I'm starting a new juggling act. I'll need a hand from one of you. And a head. And a foot. Oh, any part will do.
I actually used to think it was even better than it was until we read that it was 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like I know people that are 6.5 feet tall, right? I don't go around saying, "Oh, you're towering." Like,
are they creepy?
Yeah, definitely creepy, right? I don't trust anyone over 6 feet. It's not towering. He's got to be at least 8 feet. Like, we've got a plague doctor from Home Depot that's 7.5 feet. Frankenstein 7 feet, D3000 7 feet. Like Lethal Lily 7. Like,
7 feet.
Everyone's 7 feet, and then we get this guy. He's like towering at 6.5 feet.
Oh, you're so scary.
So now that he's not actually tall, he just looks like the scrawny clown, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of like scrawny geeky kid who's dressed as a clown for Halloween. It's fine. I think people kind of liked him. It's okay. It's an okay clown prop. I like the face. I think the costume works. It's just average, I think.
Average. Yeah. I fully agree. I'm not a clown guy. I've said this a million times. I'm bad at rating clowns and talking about clowns. But if the name is Towering Creepy Clown, at least make it towering. That's got to be a big factor, right? but apparently not. And it's super simplistic, this guy. I know that this is like a fan favorite, and I know that probably when he was a brand new prop, amongst other clown props, he probably was a bit of a standalone. Wow, this thing's so cool. Maybe it didn't matter that he actually didn't tower. He was just a clown. But I would say, comparing him to the sorts of clown props that are available now, and this is coming from a non-clown lover, I'd say he's the lesser cousin. And yeah, I think some people will buy him just because of his sort of, I don't know, background, whatever. I don't know, like they've got a bit of an attachment to it from the past. But for me, it doesn't make any sense at all. And it's a pretty average clown prop, I would say.
I have to agree. So for a rating, probably go 2 skulls.
Okay, you're going to not like, well, people are not going to like my score. I'm going to go half a skull.
That's fair.
Because I don't feel it's right to give him no skulls or minus skulls. But because this will be someone's thing, someone will be like, I'm so glad they brought back the towering creepy clown. But not me.
Let's be honest. People that are really into clowns probably aren't going to come to you for clown ratings anyway, right?
Exactly. No one's looking for me for information about clowns. I actually do sometimes get messages where they'll go, if you say a positive thing about a clown, then maybe it's worth one looking into. Because if I kind of like it, maybe it is actually a good clown. But that's about as close as I ever get to giving good ratings on clowns. Yeah, I can't give it more than half a skull. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, as a year for Spirit, you've got the carnival stuff, which they definitely put all their effort into, and they've got the curiosities and oddities, which kind of fit in for the most part. Maybe not the alien, but I think it's a solid year. I think Spirit's going to do very well financially from this.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm a bit disappointed because someone who's not into clowns, they didn't really give me a lot of other stuff to be like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. I mean, it's a different perspective for me because I'm from the UK and we don't get access to this stuff really anyway. I'm just watching from the outside, like hands up against the glass, like, let me in. I was disappointed with, obviously, the theming this year, not my theming, but there are one or two very solid props in this lineup. There are some things they've really thought about, some things they've kind of broken the mold in, and I think that they'll do very well. I think it's going to be a good year, and I think the general feeling from a lot of people is that it is a good year. But it's just like we said, it's definitely also a lineup of two halves where they've gone really, really thought really hard and put in some great tech in that, particularly the carnival themed props, which is obvious. And then the rest of the range, they came up with all these great names, and I was getting excited because I was thinking, yeah, they've not just concentrated on the clowns. And then we ended up with a load of stuff that's okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst. It's just not the greatest either. And it's just okay. And it's like this, if I was in the States right now and I was a Spirit customer, I'd be disappointed because I'd be thinking to myself, Spirit, this is what you do. This is your business. You do Halloween. That's your whole thing. And to have basically half your lineup being okay is a bit of a letdown, I would say. Personally, that's how I would feel about it. But I know there's a lot of people who don't feel that way. I know there's a lot of people who think this is like the best year ever. But I'm in the middle. It's okay.
I would go so far to say as far as like quality and innovativeness, I personally would probably rather buy more of the Lowe's props. I think Lowe's lineup for me, now again, I'm not a clown person. If you're into clowns, Spirit killed it. Now prices are ridiculous at Lowe's, but I think as far as prop quality and being more, innovative and stuff, I think they actually beat Spirit out this year. For me, Home Depot is still kind of the king. The one thing Spirit always had for me in the past was that they had the jump scares. Yes. And this year they don't really have the jump scares. So now it's like, if I'm judging the two lineups, I think Home Depot is just cooler. Their pricing is always the best out of all the places. And they really were pushing the whole servo tech and giving us some unique things. So I think Spirit needs to maybe reassess and come back really strong next year. Again, they don't, because they're going to do great and people don't care what a couple middle-aged guys have to say about it.
Exactly. You know, they'll swim on that tide of super hype that they always get, which is fine. It's fine. It's just that I feel like nothing ever. It's like they're not. It's like they've stopped trying to push the boundaries in a way. It's like I feel like there was a time when they were the ones pushing the boundaries and bringing out completely new things that people had never seen before. And now you look at their range, and most of it is stuff we've seen many times before. In fact, a big chunk of their range are literally things that are returning as old props. So, yeah.
Other than the nibbles, I'll give them that with that tech.
Nibbles
Very
is good.
cool. Give me a better prop with it, even just a cooler clown with it. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We won't get into that again. That was the last video. But so if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Go and check it out, because we lay into nibbles as well.
Yeah. But we still like nibbles.
We
don't
do.
think we hated on it.
No, we didn't hate on it. It's just that maybe that tech would have looked better in somewhere else. But I don't know.
Anything else. Even a cooler clown.
Exactly.
All right. So that pretty much covers it. Spirit Halloween 2024. Let us know what you think down below. Are we being too harsh? Are we not being harsh enough? Are you going to say, you guys hate clowns, you're terrible people? Yeah. That's all true.
I am a terrible person. It's okay. Right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget, go and check out part 1 up on ScareDad's channel right now, because it's, to be honest with you, it's about the better props, to be entirely honest with you. And I will see you in the next one. Keep it spooky. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
We got it. We're good.
We got it. We got it. Wow.
All right.
Print it. Press it. Whatever.